Title: Dating a Millionaire. Almost broke me. Intro and hook. You know how you sometimes dream about what it would be like to date a millionaire? The spontaneous trips, the incredible dinners, the feeling of being completely taken care of? Well, for 30 days, I actually lived it. I seriously thought I'd found a real-life fairy tale. But that fairy tale almost broke me. The truth is, behind all the glamour, there was this constant, crushing pressure. I felt like I was losing myself, and that month was an emotional roller coaster that took me to a place I never, ever thought I'd go. And today, I'm going to tell you the whole story. Section 1. The fairy tale begins. That first week felt like I'd walked onto a movie set. One day, it was front row seats to a show I'd been dying to see, and the next, we were on a shopping spree where price tags felt more like suggestions than rules. He was charming, incredibly smart, and his world just felt electric. It was a universe away from my own reality, where a big date night usually meant splitting a pizza and a bottle of wine. I was suddenly going to exclusive events and taking impromptu weekend getaways. He seemed to love showering me with gifts and experiences. And I'm not gonna lie, it was ridiculously easy to get swept up in the fantasy. I felt special, chosen. For a little while, the glamour of it all was completely intoxicating. I was living life in a fast lane I never knew existed. And there were no fights over bills, just a shared sense of adventure. It honestly felt like a dream. Section 2. The cracks appear. But dreams have a funny way of turning on you when you're not paying attention. The first crack appeared at a big charity gala. I was standing in a room full of people whose last names are on buildings, and I had never felt smaller in my entire life. The pressure to measure up was suffocating. I became obsessed with looking perfect, like I had to earn my seat at the table. His friends were polite enough, I guess, but their questions about my job and my background felt less like curiosity and more like they were sizing me up. It was the first time I truly felt like an accessory, not a partner. Then came the gifts. What started out as sweet gestures slowly began to feel transactional. If I was upset that he canceled our plans for a last-minute business trip, a new designer handbag would appear the next day. It wasn't a conversation or a real apology. It was a bribe to smooth things over. Communication was being replaced with commerce. Have you ever been in a situation where you felt like you had to change parts of yourself just to fit in? Let me know in the comments below. Section 3. The breaking point. The real breaking point came during a quiet dinner. I was so excited, proudly telling him about a small success I'd had with a personal project, something I'd poured my heart into. He barely looked up from his phone and just said, "That's cute. You know, you wouldn't have to worry about little projects like that if you just let me handle things." He said it so casually, but the words hit me like a ton of bricks. In that one moment, it all became crystal clear. My ambitions were cute. My passions were little projects. I wasn't his equal. I was just an inconvenience his wallet could manage. He was asking me to trade my independence for a life of comfort, and I suddenly felt like I couldn't breathe. My identity wasn't just fading, it felt like it was being actively erased. Section 4. The reflection and lessons learned. Walking away from that relationship was one of the hardest things I've ever done, but it was also the most necessary. Looking back on it all, I learned a few really powerful lessons. First, your self-worth should never, ever be tied to your partner's financial status. I let the lifestyle make me feel inadequate, but I learned my value doesn't come with a price tag. Second, lavish gifts can't fix a lack of emotional connection. A healthy relationship is built on open communication, respect, and vulnerability. Things money just can't buy. He was often in the room, but his mind was a million miles away. And finally, the most important lesson of all was that being true to yourself is everything. Chasing my own goals and passions is what makes me me. Giving that up for anyone, no matter how rich, is just too high a price to pay. Conclusion in CTA. It took me a while to find my footing again after that month, but reclaiming my own identity was the most rewarding journey I've ever been on. That fairy tale almost broke me, but in the end, it made me so much stronger. It taught me that the greatest luxury in life is being unapologetically yourself. If this story resonated with you, I'd really appreciate it if you gave this video a like and subscribe for more content about finding your way. I'd love to hear from you in the comments. What's the biggest lesson a past relationship has ever taught you? Thanks for watching.